Hello again. Well, I'm back with more bad reviews. You might ask me though, Mike, why are you promoting bad reviews? That can't be good for business. But I like to be transparent. I mean, they're out there anyways, and it's totally fun to read them. But if I'm going to push my books, then you ought to know some people don't like them. Yeah, so anyways, I start with the bad review. Again, this is The Judas Syndrome, my most polarizing book to date. 1 star by Sonia. The start of this book begins like an ensemble cast horror flick. A bunch of kids on the cusp of graduation decide to have a last hurrah during a weekend trip in the woods. Thank goodness they do, because while they're on their trip, their town is obliterated. Oh, except for Joel's house, which conveniently has a genie, which it does not. Well, you'll have to read the book. I had several problems with the book, she says. It was really far-fetched that a group of pot-smoking, booze-swilling, drug-hazed teenagers would be able or capable or motivated to do anything they managed during the course of this novel, especially not as quickly as they did. The plot development felt rushed and slapdash. The writing, while not as horrible as I've seen elsewhere, was so basic as to come across as amateurish and juvenile. This is something on par with what I would expect from a young author. Most post-apocalyptic fiction insightfully addresses many provocative ideas about mankind. While maybe I can admit that it not so successfully addressed the idea of survival, so many of the other plot elements, which could have been tremendously poignant moments for other common themes, were not utilized to their full potential. While it seems there is a hint of that intention, it just wasn't successful. None of the teens' deaths felt meaningful or impactful, possibly due to weak character development. It was hard for me to feel connected to any of them, not even Joel, the chief protagonist. Which brings me to the climax of the novel, which just unsettled me, but not in a good way. Once again, it feels as if there was great intention that just failed to be successful. The entire novel is just odd. It does not seem to have been addressed with the care and detail that a novel of this scope needed. Okay, so pretty bad review, right? Couldn't get into the characters, didn't care if they died. Now put that against this 4-star review, entitled Interesting and Fairly Intense by J.H. Sked. This is a pretty intense book that I think will polarize readers. There's another reader who agrees most will either love or hate the Judas Syndrome. She says, it deals openly with a number of subjects that our more conservative readers will be uncomfortable with, including fairly prolific drug use and some fairly harsh language. Although the main character and his friends are teenagers, this is not a children's book by any means. For me, the book had some excellent points. I absolutely loved the first page, entitled Joel Speaks. The concept was brilliant. I've read a number of post-apocalyptic type books. This one struck me as quite different to the run-of-the-mill stuff. Joel, for me this guy was the perfect anti-hero, difficult to like, remarkably easy to sympathize with. No attempt at covering his flaws or making him a saint. What really struck me was watching this guy devolve slowly into utter paranoia and self-hate, and eventually self-destruct, in every sense of the word, while consistently trying to do what he thinks is right. Joel, in the end, is the personification of the apocalypse, and I thought this was beautifully done. Stinky, how can you not love a talking skunk avatar? The ending, I really liked it. Very powerful way to end this story, and for me, it made perfect sense in light of both the book and Joel's character. I'd recommend it, although it takes some time to get through. This is not a cute or fluffy book, and there are some pretty hard-hitting scenes in it that will stay with the reader for a while. So, obviously, the main character, Joel, who's point of view the book is written from seemed to really resonate with this reviewer, and she totally got it. Nothing was lost on her. It's just so exciting when someone's relates to your vision, and your vision is completely validated by a complete stranger somewhere in the world. Anyways, I'm having fun reading the bad reviews for you, and as thick a skin as I've grown over the years, I do need to follow the bad with good for my own peace of mind. Incidentally, there are no more reviews below 4 stars for the next 2 books in the series, so I guess I weeded out those who hated the book before they made it to Rebirth and Revelation. So no more bad reviews to read on this series. We'll look at her past present in the next episode, or 2. I think there's a real humdinger or 2 there. Anyways, thanks for listening, and happy reading.